Hello there. Today we are going to learn about the chapter 2 on human nervous system from science book class 8. There are three major themes in this chapter. Number 1 is how do our bodies respond to the changes in environment. Number 2 is how do the messages travel from one part of the body to the other. And number 3, why do you pick your hand quickly when it touches a hard object? Student learning outcomes. After studying this chapter, students will be able to identify the organ functions and processes of the human nervous system, sketch and label diagram of the human nervous system, explain how the brain works as the control system or station of the human body, identify the major parts of the brain, describe structure of the cerebrum, its division into two hemispheres, left and right, and the role of each hemisphere in the control of the body. Map the various steps in the transmission of messages through the body and to the brain via reflex arc. Describe the type and function of neurons in transmitting messages through the body. Match various body functions with the relevant part of the brain that controls or regulates them. For example, associating breathing with the brain stem. Explain and represent how messages flow through the body from one part of the brain and how the brain collaborates with the sensory organs to regulate this process. Map the various steps in the transmission of messages through the body and to the brain. Predict what would happen if a nerve connection broke. In previous classes, we learned about various organs and their functions in the human body. In this chapter, we will study the functions of human brain, spinal cord, and nerves which constitute the nervous system. Nervous system. Whenever a person gets injury on his foot while walking, he feels pain and his hand immediately reaches the injured site. Who asks the hand to reach the site? In fact, there is an organ system in our body which carries messages from one part of the body to another and coordinates body function. This system is called nervous system. Human nervous system consists of central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, as shown in figure 2.1. The central nervous system is control of brain and spinal cord, while peripheral nervous system consists of a network of nerves which connect the central nervous system to all parts of the body. Neurons or nerve cell. Neuron or nerve cell is the basic structure and function units of the nervous system. All part of the nervous system, that is brain, spinal cord, and nerves, are made up of neurons. Neurons transmit messages in the form of electrochemical signals called nerve impulse, which are also electrochemical waves. The part of the brain which contains the nucleus and most of the cytoplasm is called the cell body. The fine projection of the cell body which receives messages are called dendrites. A long projection of the cell body which conducts messages away from the cell body is called axon. Terminal end of the axon transmit the messages to the next cells. Nerve. A nerve is a cable-like bundle of axon enclosed in a common sheath. Nerve transmit messages from one part of the body to the other. Types of neurons. On the basis of their function, neurons are of three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. Sensory neurons carry messages away from sensory organs, that is eyes, ears, skin, tongue, nose, to the central nervous system, while motor neurons carry messages from the central nervous system to the effectors, muscles, and glands, the part which respond. Interneurons are present in central nervous system, brain, and spinal cord. They form a link between sensory neuron and motor neuron, as shown in figure 2.3. Interesting information. Impulses may travel as fast as 150 meter per second or as slow as 0.2 meter per second. Mini exercise. Draw the structure of a neuron or nerve cell and label its different parts. Central nervous system. Central nervous system as the control system of the whole nervous system. It comprises brain and spinal cord. Brain. Human brain, as shown in figure 2.5, is enclosed in a bony skull called cranium and consists of billions of interneurons. It is divided into the following part. Forebrain is the largest part of the brain. It consists of three main parts: cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum is the topmost and the biggest part of the brain. It is divided into right and left cerebral hemisphere. Each hemisphere controls the opposite side of the body. In general, the left hemisphere controls speech, comprehension, arithmetic, and writing. The right hemisphere controls creativity, spatial ability, artistic, and musical skill. Inside cerebrum, there is a small structure called thalamus. It controls many sensory functions. Hypothalamus lies at the base of the thalamus, It controls body temperature, hunger, and thirst. Figure 2.4 shows section of skull showing different parts of human brain. Midbrain. Midbrain is a small part of the brain which is present below the cerebrum. It receives information from sensory organs which is then processed to the appropriate part of the forebrain. Hindbrain. Hindbrain consists of three parts: cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. Cerebellum lies under the back part of the cerebrum. It acts as a controller of maintaining the body balance and making precise and accurate movement. Pons is a novel structure present beneath midbrain. It controls many functions like sleep, swallowing, equilibrium, and taste. Medulla oblongata forms the posterior part of the brain which is connected with the spinal cord. Medulla oblongata controls heartbeat, breathing, and digestion. Medulla oblongata keeps on working while the rest of the brain goes to sleep. Do you know brain of an adult weighs about 1.5 kg and consists of about 100 billion neurons? Spinal cord. Spinal cord is an extension of medulla oblongata. It runs backward inside the backbone up to the lower end. It is also made up of interneuron. Spinal cord creates a link between the brain and different body parts. It also controls some reflex action, immediate and involuntary actions, and some other involuntary actions. Peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system consists of network of nerves which spread in the body to connect all the brain parts to the central nervous system, brain, and spinal cord. The nerves which arise from brain are called cranial nerves. The nerves which arise from spinal cord are called spinal nerves. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves in the human body. Working model of a nervous system. Nervous system coordinates all the body functions. It also detects the changes in environment and produces responses to the changes. Figure 2.6 shows the working of the nervous system as described below. Any change in the environment, external or internal, that can be detected by a receptor to initiate a nerve impulse is called stimulus. Plural stimuli. Heat, cold, pressure, sound waves are examples of stimuli. The special organs, tissues, or the sensory neurons carry the message regarding stimuli in the form of nerve impulses from receptor to the central nervous system. The central nervous system processes the messages and transmits the nerve impulses to motor neurons. Motor neurons carry the nerve impulses to the part of the body which produce responses. Such parts are called effectors. Muscles and glands in the body act as effectors. Figure 2.2 shows the function of human nervous system. Activity 2.1. Make a flow diagram showing the pathway of nerve impulse which you pat on the shoulder of your friend. Action controlled by the nervous system. Voluntary action. The body actions which are performed under conscious control which are done after thinking over them are called voluntary action. For example, speaking, eating, reading, walking, running, clapping are voluntary actions. Involuntary action. The body actions which are performed without involvement of thinking process are called involuntary actions. Involuntary actions are not performed under conscious control. Heartbeat, breathing, blinking of eyes, movement of small intestine are example of involuntary actions. Reflex action. An immediate and involuntary response to a stimuli is called reflex action. Quick pulling of hand just after touching the hot object is a common example of reflex action. In this example of reflex action shown in figure 2.7, temperature of hot object is a stimulus which is received by cell, thermoreceptor of the skin. A nerve impulse is created in which in the sensory neuron present is created in the sensory neuron present in skin. The nerve impulse is carried by the sensory neuron to the spinal cord. The interneuron of the spinal cord transmits the impulse to the motor neuron. The motor neuron carries the impulse to the arm muscle effectors. The arm muscles contract and the hand is pulled back. The pathway of nerve impulse which complete a reflex action is called reflex arc. It consists of receptors, a sensory neuron, a interneuron, a motor neuron, and effectors. Figure 2.67. Reflex are representing reflex action. Touching a hot object flame in this example results in the immediate withdrawal of hand through contraction of muscles of arm. Key points. Nervous system carries messages from one part of the body to another and coordinates body's function. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system consists of a network of nerves which connects the central nervous system to all body parts. Sensory neurons carry messages from sensory organ to central nervous system. Motor neurons carry messages from central nervous system to muscles and gland. Interneurons are present in brain and spinal cord. They form a link between sensory neurons and motor neurons. The actions which are performed under conscious control are called voluntary actions, while the actions which are performed without involvement of thinking process are called involuntary action. An immediate and involuntary response to a stimuli is called reflex action. Encircle the correct answer. The neurons which decide about the action of a central certain stimulus. Sensory neuron, motor neuron, interneuron, all of above. The parts of a neuron which receive messages called cell bodies, dendroid, axon, nuclei. Heartbeat is controlled by cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, hypothalamus. Many axons present side by side and enclosed in a common sheet form nerve cell, nerve, dendrite, spinal cord. Sensory neurons carry messages toward muscles, glands, sensory organ, brain, and spinal cord. Which part of the brain is involved in precise and accurate body movement? Cerebellum, cerebrum, thalamus, midbrain. When you have a toothache, you feel pain because there is a cavity in your tooth. Tiny bits of food are left between your teeth. Bacteria digest the food left between your tooth and produce an acid. The cavity reaches the nerves and nerves send a message to the brain. Right short answer. Right function of midbrain, hypothalamus and spinal cord. Differentiate between receptors and effectors, neurons and nerve, sensory neuron and motor neuron, cerebrum and cerebellum. Write a note on the central nervous system. Identify and label following diagram. Constructed response question. The table shows below a list of daily activities. Write the name of the part of the brain, forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, which is controlling this activity. Sleeping, part of the brain controlling activity. Brushing your teeth, taking breath, breakfast, balancing your body, taking deep breath. Predict what would happen if a nerve connection broke. Investigate. Why a motorcyclist is advised to wear a helmet. A person met an accident in a car. When he was brought to the hospital, he did not know even his name. What could have happened to him? Relate your answer with reference to your nervous system. Project. Teachers should make a group of 4 students and ask one of the students to read aloud a paragraph for 1 or 2 minutes. Ask the other student to listen carefully as the student stop reading. Ask all the 3 students to write given space with what they have listened. After writing the paragraph, all the students ask the students to compare their written paragraph with the actual paragraph in a book. The greater they found resemblance between the actual and written paragraph, the stronger memory they have. Thank you so much. That's it for chapter 8.